Why do I keep watching this show? Yeah, I'm talking about Ninninger again. Clean up before I get to this week's recaps. I'm working on the Superior Tyson Grand Prix review. You will see that by the end of the year. I'm literally in the middle of editing it right now. It's probably going to be about 5 parts. I've spliced it a bit short, each segment a bit shorter, so it's probably going to equal about equivalent to last year's Kamen Rider Tyson review. Oh, trust me, there's more good related to it this year than was last year, so it's not the worst Tyson film, in my opinion, and you'll see my complaints in a few weeks. Second, not sure if you guys can fully see the screen over there that I end up having displayed back there, but yeah, this really isn't related to Tokusatsu or anything, but there's a Kickstarter to bring back Mystery Science Theater 3000. If you've not seen Mystery Science Theater 3000, you've probably seen clips of it in pretty much every internet reviewer ever, because that was kind of the inspiration. They riffed from in the 90s to the end of the early 2000s. Mystery Science Theater was a TV show that riffed movies, mostly sci-fi or fantasy. They got a bunch of the Gamera movies at the time and did that. And they are currently sitting at 2,358,656 as of recording this. And they've already met their first goal. It's back for 3 episodes. We're currently working towards the 6-episode stretch goal, and 5.5 million will result in a full 12-episode stretch that can show people we really want that kind of riffing back. Now we want riff tracks, or we got riff tracks, and we've got Cinematic and Titanic. But there's a difference between those that just have full straight rips of the movie and the whole kind of story arc environment, like with the Mads, and then, look, just check out an episode of Mystery Science Theater 3000 and see if that's more of what, if that's something you'd like to see more of or not, and check them out for that. I already donated. Yes. Okay, so back on topic. Ninninger. This week's episode is kind of a parody of Naruto Road to Ninja, because Nagi is, well, I guess not exactly Road to Ninja, but it kind of spoofs it a bit. Nagi is asked for, I guess, asked about career counseling that leads into the whole Last Ninja thing he's a part of, and that part of the episode is really, really painful, as he's talking to this counselor as if he's a little child. Now, this series and Tokuger had been big on the pandering to the children. And, you know, I don't think shows should really pander. It kind of cheapens their storytelling there, and, you know, I've already gone over my complaints of those two entries a long time. But yeah, it doesn't start out good. And it doesn't really naturally segue into Nagi asking Yoshitaka about what is needed of someone who becomes the last ninja. And you know what? He doesn't really ever answer what it takes to be the last ninja. What are his duties, aside from protecting the Enshuriken? And, you know, all of those things that would be descriptive of the actual job. It's just prerequisites to things you need to have, which are strength, compassion, and conviction, which, you know, that covers a lot of things that aren't really just applicable to that job. So you're still kind of failing on giving anything tangible, Gramps. So, as kind of a training exercise, he shows him a RPG on his laptop that he made. Gramps is just supplying all of these kinds of things out of nowhere, isn't he? And it's called Road to Last Ninja. Get it? That's the name of that Naruto movie everybody thinks is really good with the alternate universe thing, and it wasn't actually really good. So, since Nagi wants to do this, everybody else sees it and wants to get involved and see what it is, and it's a tactical RPG. I hate everything. Sorry, it's not a tactical RPG, but it is an RPG. And, RPGs, aside from reviewing tokusatsu, are normally my thing. And you know what? The spoofs of old school RPGs and their battle systems, and specifically they were kind of doing a Final Fantasy thing with it, with, Nagi playing the ninja, Kinji playing the warrior, Takaharu playing the fighter, Yakumo is naturally the wizard. He burns things. Katsumi the priestess. I'm going to say they did that because of her high intelligence and, the dedication to learning that would be that kind of thing. Yakumo as an archer, which, I could buy if she used the Starshift shuriken thing that turns into a bow more often than the handgun. But I can dig it if they were going that route. And Nagi is, of course, and Yoshitaka insisted he be the protagonist since he was the one who got interested in it, be the actual ninja of the group. They don't actually really hold to that aside from Yakumo. Everybody just uses their normal ninja abilities throughout the episode. Because that is false advertising. Yes. Now, I'll give them some credit with this. Their, for the most part, the RPG alignment thing kind of did work with how they were kind of executing it and, mapping it to superficial details of the characters. And I say superficial as, aside from Kinji's arc, there really isn't much concrete in the show. But, I was being lenient about it. And so, but the problem is that it really doesn't, it's a 20-minute episode show. You really can't properly spoof, an RPG in that kind of time frame. You can do it over a two-parter episode to kind of, give it a bit more time, flesh it out. But it's just, you do a few gags, and then the main plot comes in, and that completely disrupts most of it, aside from more sight gags and jokes, and, of course, people falling under the spells of the Kaijin of the Week. The Kaijin of the Week is a multi-eyed monster. I'm forgetting the name, and I tried to pronounce it before I came on screen, started recording this. I literally could not pronounce its name. But, apparently it's something they're parodying. No, I don't even want to say it. Let's say it on a tangent. There was apparently a monster like it in Kaku Ranger, which they were kind of basing things off of, after fusing it with a keyboard. Yes. So when that monster gets involved, it jumps into video games and starts pulling children who are playing video games into the video game realm and then imprisoning them. Two things. One, Dot Hack, Sword Art Online, and Log Horizon did this better. I'd say Summer Wars, but I actually don't like Summer Wars, and they don't really do that in there. Seriously, they've all done this better, because it's a background element at best, so you can't, and plus it's not real, and I'll admit, being trapped in a game and not being able to have freedom at all to do that, that can be pretty terrifying. My problem is, they did this all with little kids when this is something that can terrify adults. And in fact has terrified adults, as shown in Dot Hack, Sword Art Online, and Log Horizon. Yes. So, the whole fear factor thing that they do to gather, you could have done this with more than the kids. I know, they're pandering to kids in this season when they really should not be, considering the low quality of the stories, but still. Anyways, not actually a bad plan until you realize that Yoshitaka stuffed them in a video game and, they're already in the environment that this monster can take advantage of the setting. And it's not even explain how Yoshitaka stuffs them in the game at all. It's just magic ninja abilities. It's magic. We don't have to explain it. Where was I? Yeah, it actually would have been... I think it would have been better to bridge it with Nagi starting off playing the game and then, you know, the monster actually trapping them in it and then having to go through the obstacles to freeing the kids. As that would be more... That's what the Sai Rhino Ninja did a couple episodes ago, but that was so awkwardly executed where it could have been... Yeah, I'm citing an example of where Ninninger did a setup for a monster encounter story better. Except I didn't like that one because of the framing for it. Again, it's like they have these good ideas, except the execution of them is terrible. At least when you think about it. So, where was I? They're at the point in the game when they have to collect 3 keys. They have to, and they just need to find one other one when the monster comes in and uses its game hacking abilities, because it's a giant keyboard. It can type in cheat codes to itself. I swear this is something else one of the prior Ninninger monsters did. Like, no, wait, it wasn't a Ninninger monster. It was a Tokuger monster with a typewriter who wrote things as god-modding scripts that one had... It's not Yakumo. Who was the Blue Ranger last year? I could have... Tokachi. Yeah, it was going to kill Tokachi, and then he had to use his imagination to rewrite the scripting for that, and that was actually... I thought that was actually pretty clever back then. But, anyways, it uses the cheat codes to neutralize everybody but Nagi in turn. The first 4 ninja because they were active in the party at the moment on the team, because it was only 4 to a party in there. Then Kinji's hit by not 1, but 2 status ailments due to his Superstar Ninja form, which is, congratulations, you gave him a power-up an episode ago, and it's already showing itself as useless. But he hands Nagi the sword, which somehow grants him a new shuriken because there was something about a test of conviction about finding the end shuriken earlier in the game and still continuing on with the game even though you got the prize. But usually in those kind of your end goal, you get what your end goal is, there's something and the game doesn't end right after that. There tends to be something after that, or it's an intermediary goal to the actual final end game of it. So, like, it's not like Nagi being smart and thinking acquisition of the end shuriken is too easy to, like, continue to hunt for the true goal in it. It's like, huh, neat, I get this early. It's like, it's using awareness of video games instead of, you know, active thinking on the matter. Yes, but since he didn't use the end shuriken at all when he was even prompted to reset the game, in fact, he didn't even know it would do that when he got the shuriken. It could have just been a key item thing that was useless to actual progression. So again, knowledge of video games kind of defaults your abilities in this. Your tests of character in this. And yeah, because Nagi didn't use the end shuriken, even though he probably couldn't use it, the end shuriken in the game is changed into a new weapon shuriken that goes on Kinji's Gekiatsu super sword thing, which allows them to beat the monster of the week. And then they have it in the real world because I have no idea. They don't explain that. I think it's possible, and I'm betting this is the revelation that's going to come, that that's the actual end shuriken, and Yoshitaka stuffed it in the game as a feint to actually hide it, and this is him choosing ahead of time successor with Nagi being given it because he shows himself as not necessarily the best, but an overall well-rounded individual, which I guess works. I don't find anything particularly wrong with that. He is the most well-rounded of them. Fuka gets dumped on by the setting. Takaharu's a fucking imbecile. Kasumi's so scientifically inclined, she overlooks other skills. Yakumo's a mage. Kinji's not in the family. It could be applicable, I guess. As long as Takaharu doesn't get it in the end, I would be happy with this. But yeah, I think that's going to be the eventual revelation. They now have the End Shuriken as part of their arsenal and can use it safely in its transformed form because they're not really tapping into the cosmic reset button of the thing. Ghost. From the last episode, we've lost another 11 days. We're now down to 45 days, and he needs 12 icons, if we include the one he lost. Today's icon is recovering Beethoven, and I kind of dug the whole Beethoven look of the Ghost Parka and its ability to attack with music, because you know what that reminds me of? Hibiki. Yeah, Hibiki, what I've seen of it at least, is awesome, at least until the staff change. Yes. But you know, that's a good homage for it, even if they don't really end up having Beethoven part of the regular arsenal. But the main plot is about Takeru's mounting depression from his failures against Spectre and his just general demoralization, allowing him to I shouldn't say allowing him, forcing him to no longer be willingly visible. In other words, he can't make himself seen, heard, or touched by anyone around him. He's becoming little more than a, ironically, Spectre. So it's kind of like, it's really focused on Akari's efforts to not so much cheer Takeru up, but re-encourage him to keep on fighting to regain his life. That, you know, Spectre's words last episode were kind of yes, kind of no on that, in the whole demoralization and condemnations of him. But I guess this is showing a bit more that Takeru will run away without a capability to, I guess, find the answer or know the answer. He's not used to, I guess, struggling with, I don't even know what I'm trying to describe this as at the moment. It's a consequence of how Ghost has been so rapid with the acquisition of icons and these conflicts that we've not exactly had as much time to developing the characters as they probably should. And this is, I'm glad they're addressing this early enough, but this is really the first good character piece we've had for the show since the premiere episode, even though it's mostly focused on Akari, and I gotta say, it does quite well at character redemption for her. As I said at the beginning, Akari was pretty much the weak link with her staunch, will only accept things that have an explanation to them instead of, you know, accepting that there are things that are not so easily explained or have to be explained by those witnessing it, in like, accepting that it's happening and figure out the explanation later, even if you aren't at the point where you can, where science and such is not at the point where you can understand it. There's why there's that whole non-understandable phenomena thing, the whole skeptics. I'm babbling now. But yes, it's, as Takeru is forced to be permanently out of it. She takes advantage of her long-standing friendship and connection to figure out where he's gone and talk to him and reassure him that they're in this situation together. She's going to help however she can, and she believes in him to keep moving forward and help people and get his life back. Because it's honestly better how they say it in the show, honestly. That she's beginning to accept that she's not going to be able to explain everything, but this is Takeru's problem, and she's not been helping make it better, and she's trying to. And that, with her additional actions in the episode of saving the Musashi icon from being stolen from Spectre early on when he makes his appearance, doing the speech to the victim of the week and convincing him his life has meaning and that it's not throwing it away won't solve anything. How reflective of how Takeru's feeling with his repeated failures. It's a really good moment that does a lot to bring her back from the brink of being really annoying. And this is something we definitely needed around now, since this is usually where we get into the supporting cast character development in the older shows. Not old, I'm saying like mid-Heisei series, where it became more commonplace. Like Drive toyed with delaying those for quite a while, and it played havoc with appreciation for the show and whatnot. So it's better we got this now, even with how they're structuring it as not arc episodes, so we're getting more time with the situation of the week than we are really character and story arc development. But we're beginning to get a bit of story arc development seated in here, because the victim of the week, who is a musician, I should say a piano composer who holds an appreciation with Beethoven's music, is targeted by a Ganma, but what we see happen here is the Fangtooth guy, I'm not even sure if that... not Fangtooth, oddly placed tooth, where it's sticking out of the gum. I don't know what to call that. I know there's an actual term for it. I am completely blanking on it. I apologize. But we find that he's one of the two guys that are creating the Ganma. But we now see that it's been odd that all of these people that have been targeted have these artifacts of these historical figures. But now we see that they're being given them, most of the time, by this individual that has this kind of bond with them. Now, Nobunaga's was forgivable as it was in the family of the person targeted for it, but I'm talking more like the scientist guy who worshipped Edison in the second episode, having one of Edison's light bulbs. That was weird. That was potential plot hole, which is now filled by this guy being behind it. We still don't know why he and his other companion, that is not Spectre, are doing this, but from previews, we're probably going to find out next episode, and that's probably a good time to try and fill that in before it gets too late into the series. We need motivations for our villains. And admittedly, hang on. What am I trying to say? Admittedly, older series, I'm releasing the Fives reviews currently. We didn't get a good motivation behind what the villain's activities were until around the 9th episode. We had interim things that set up the general battles between them, but not a concrete antagonist. So this isn't that out of place to hold off on it a bit, but with how fast the pace of the show has been going, how many fights they've been in, and how we've gotten at least basics on these people waiting in the wings, it's odd that we didn't get something a bit before the second writer. In fact, I would have preferred we gotten that before Spectre came into things. Still, what's done is done in this case. It's still not bad. It's still chugging along. It's actually, episode 6 was pretty well paced, all things considered. Better than the pacing of the last few episodes where they just jam everything in. All the scenes have time to breathe, which is fixing. It's not as slow to develop everything as it could be, but it's not bad. Kind of really didn't discuss much of the overarching plot, but the Takeru thing really did supersede everything else important. Though, we did get something important about Makoto, in that after slamming hard and being kind of really antagonistic the first 2 episodes, they kind of immediately dialed back on how ruthless he is, in that when Akari gets involved in both incidents, he steps back and lets Takeru go, lets an icon go. He was going to claim Musashi when he fought Takeru the first time in the episode. I shouldn't say the first time, because that was the only encounter. And he's just a passive observer in the manifestation of Beethoven from the victim of the week, who doesn't die, of course. Takeru saves him with his newfound confidence, and of course watches Takeru and his fight, and he admittedly takes a bit of a badass streak with his confidence back. So I'm curious what's going on here. It's implied he knows Akari, but we don't know where that's from. It's apparently... They apparently know each other from somewhere, but it's not been gotten to in the show. However, it is implied this whole situation goes back 10 years, to the death of Takeru's father, which is kind of an impetus in all of this, especially with how his dead father sent Takeru the ghost icon in the first episode. So, there may be more keys to it, and I'm curious how they're going to deal with this, since, the next movie war is going to feature time travel back 10 years to the incident where Takeru's father dies. So, good way to tie into that and establish what happens in those events that Takeru would be affecting by going back to them, and Takeru knowing what would need to be changed to preempt all of this nonsense. So that would make a good way... Yeah, that's a great way to tie in Takeru's greater motivations for all this in that movie, and why him screwing with the timeline might end up being a bad thing, and incite some element of what's going on in the present time in that film. We've barely gotten any information on the 2015 movie war. I'm just suppositioning at this point. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I'm also kind of looking forward to next week's Ninninger, but not for the actual plot of the episode, which, from what I've seen, is going to be really stupid. But it's going to be the return of a Magi Ranger, Tsubasa Ozu, who was... Yeah, I could say I liked him from what I've seen of Magi Ranger, but he also played Jin Masato in Go Busters, so I'm curious why they defaulted to him when, I guess none of the other Magi Rangers wanted to come back or something. It's been pointed out that that's going to be weird character-wise for him. But hey, it's Ninninger. All of the crossover episodes and past homage episodes have been terrible. Yeah. Okay, I think that's it for me this week. I'll try and be a bit more coherent next week. I make no promises. Yeah, that's all I got. See you next time.